So I think music was a really important part of my relationship with my dad. Well, I think being here today brings back many memories for me. I would love coming to the concert hall to listen to music. And the very earliest piece was Sergei Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf. I would snuggle into him, terrified by the fear of the wolf coming and Peter having to catch the wolf.
Did you imagine that your father might be Peter?
I did imagine him as a hero, yes.
Going off to hunt the wolf somewhere, wherever it was that he was going. And did he speak much about where he would go regularly?
No, not at all. It wasn't something that was talked about.
Why?
Well, I think it was private business, and I certainly didn't feel it was appropriate to raise the details with my father.
But little girls are curious. You must have surely wanted to know more.
And I did ask him, but he didn't respond, and I knew that when I was dismissed, then I shouldn't ask any further.
How Jane Sydenham-Clarke discovered her father's secret is typical of men like him. Clues are only found in the strange items they leave behind.
Certainly when he died, his apron, his Masonic apron, was something that, I was able to open the case to and have a look at after he'd passed away. And that was really the first time that I had seen his apron.
The Freemasons, with their secret craft of handshakes and passwords, have been the very definition of cloak and dagger. The fraternal organisation, which came out of trade guilds in the 1300s, is the oldest in the world and claims notable Australians like Sir Donald Bradman, Sir Robert Menzies and Graham Kennedy among their ranks.
After the war, membership soared. Men were coming back from wartime and were looking for a place, a third place, where they could actually have the support that they had enjoyed, the good part of being at war, to deal with all of the bad part. Actually, being the head of the family, particularly back in the 60s and 70s, it's a very lonely place.
In Jane's dad's time, around 14% of men were Freemasons, around 400,000 in Australia. But society has changed. Their numbers are now roughly 0.5%. Their average age is close to 70. They're facing extinction. So it's time to disrupt some stoic traditions.
And now, as life would have it, I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Freemasons Victoria.
So are you the woman that will teach men to be better men?
Yeah. Initially, many members are not at all convinced. They give me a really good piece of their mind.
She wants the Freemasons to be a cross between LinkedIn and a men's shed. Less secrecy and more diversity.
And you're the first woman to be welcomed into Freemasons in Victoria in 127 years. I mean, if there was any definition of a boys' club, it's Freemasons. Are you allowed to take part in the ceremonies that have been secret for all this time?
When we talk about the actual meetings, the closed, the formal meetings, in fact, that is a place for men only, and it's not a place that I need to be. So I brought you here because I want to show you Mrs. Aldworth.
There have been exceptions before.
This lady?
Yes. She witnessed her father's lodge and they had to make her a Freemason.
So there are female Freemasons?
Well, there was one in
What?
1710.
Are we hoping for more one day?
Not in the lodge room.
But tonight, as the Freemasons' wives and partners sit outside the lodge, Jane is about to cross the threshold and try to convince them of her plan. It's Freemasons' tradition that the tiler is the one who guards the door from intruders.
The Tyler's part of his installation, investiture, is that he's armed with a drawn sword.
Are you armed, Ray?
Yes, there's a sword in the cupboard.
Is that a threat?
I have two, if you want to.
That's a double threat.
A double threat, yes, it is a double threat. They're about to come in. They are coming in.
Yes, Jane. Welcome.
Thank you. And look, I've brought my friends.
Your closest friends. Ladies, gentlemen, brethren,
If that's okay.
sit wherever you feel comfortable, please.
Thank you, Middle Park Lodge. How wonderful to be here. I'm not a man, and I'm not a Freemason. If there is to be an organisation for our grandchildren, for our great-grandchildren, then we must all work together, set aside our differences and come on a journey to build a future for Freemasons Victoria. It so happens that I was the last-ditched attempt of my father to have a son. Our Deputy Grandmaster, our President of the Board, our Grandmaster, none of us can do it on our own. We need to come together as a community to set aside our differences and to move into the future as one. Thank you.
Her rebranding pitch looks like it may have worked.
I think my father would be a bit confused, but I think he would be really proud. I think it may go some way to not having been his son that he so dearly wished for, but I think he would be proud. Change is really tough, particularly if you're someone who has been part of an experience and you love it and you don't want it to change, and in fact you resent all the change that's going on in the world, and this is the only place I can trust to be.
And particularly for
So,
Freemasons, they
yeah.
love the fact that it hasn't changed.
Correct.
Now it sort of has to, and that's your job to
Correct.
change it. How are
Yeah.
you going to do that?
There is so much in our history and heritage which we must treasure and we must perpetuate and celebrate. But things like secrecy don't belong today. They just don't belong today.